There's a rather strange black window, and not one that I'm familiar with in terms of tradition of these things.
But it says he's dead.
Well, there he is. There's the chap, the pervert. This must be old.
He died. He died a few years ago.
You call yourself an intellectual, man. What's your field of study?
Well, I'm a local historian.
Roman?
Very much so.
Strangest of sights in the cellar was a 2 foot wide hole.
Isn't it odd that they're buried so close to one another? Is that normal?
Is it normal?
You do see a pale figure in the trees there.
What is it?
Why would a reverend be buried without any indication of their faith? Most odd.
It's a very squat figure of a Roman.
Bloody Romans.
A Roman general.
That looks like a wyvern.
Yes. Yes, it does. The Apocalypse players present Magnum Tenebrosum, a Call of Cthulhu scenario by Dominic Allen. With Joseph Chance as Dr. John Elvedon, Danann McAleer as Colonel Ambrose Coghill, and our special guest, Tilly Steele, as Dr. Jemima Croft. Your keeper of arcane lore is Dominic Allen. Part 4: Beastly Mud and Oomska. You find yourselves stood in this clearing in the woods. It has been raining, but now the rain has ceased. The earth is damp, and you are facing this sandstone statue of a Roman general caught in the moonlight. It's very quiet and a bit chilly. What do you do?
That almost put the willies up me. Let's have a look, shall we?
Who is this fellow?
P. Liburnius, Marcus Aurelius. What does it say at the end?
Yes. Now let me see. Let me drift into the mind palace that Bruno is so fond of.
See you in an hour.
Giordano Bruno. I mean, of course, Jemima.
Oh,
Yes.
that's a very oblique reference.
Are you familiar with his mind palace? I suspect it's probably come up in your studies.
It's a memory of memorization, is it not?
Exactly.
I'm not familiar with him himself, but certainly.
He was fascinating, and were we not on a cold, bleak hillside, frankly, in my case, a little bit scared, I'd take more time to discuss it. But the romantic nature, capital R, of our setting makes me think that I must plumb the depths of my historical knowledge, if that's acceptable with the keeper of the Lake District Tourist Board. Can I roll my history?
You can, but I would need... I think for this obscure figure of Roman history, I would need an extreme success.
Plot-breaking roll.
What if I rolled my Latin? Would that be able to... No, because that's strictly language, isn't it? It would have to be a specific classics, wouldn't it? Well, have I got anything else specific? Archaeology? You want a hard history?
I don't think archaeology is going to help you.
No.
A hard history would get you maybe a bit of something, but if you want something concrete you can really hold on to, I'd need an extreme success.
I rarely, for the first time probably since being in both of your presences, I don't have a cigarette, and I take one out and I light it with what can only be described as an extravagant use of gas.
Wow.
And I do mean...
I just go like that with my hair because it nearly singes me.
Exactly. Clearing the fringe
But I don't want to
away.
offend you, so
I probably somewhat offensively don't even look at you, even though my eyes are slightly wild, and I take a deep drag of it, and I go, let me just take a closer look. And I climb on the statue.
Good lord.
To push the roll.
Oh, did you roll? I missed the roll. I missed the original roll.
Yeah. I rolled a 48, which is not a hard. But my history is 65. So I dangerously fancy my chances.
When in Rome.
I've got some luck.
I just turn to Coghill and I say, is he quite all right?
Not sure. Let's see.
I like to think this is what Call of Cthulhu is made of. Indeed, if it's not what it's made for. I've rolled poorly. I've still passed, but I have not got the hard success I was looking for.
You still passed.
55.
In that case, I'm going to say that you don't... I think you'd only be... I'm not entirely sure exactly where the rules fall on this.
If you're aiming for an extreme...
You were pushing...
But
you still passed, so you didn't fail.
No.
So I think, in this case, what happens is you climb onto the statue and you're essentially face to face with it, because the proportions are slightly wrong on the figure, you know. It's smaller than a normal man, a modern man. So you kind of get eyeball to eyeball with it as you sort of cling on, and you feel like it's almost mocking you because of this cold, dead, statuesque expression. You feel like it's mocking you with its secrets. You know there's more to know about this person, and it sounds like a name you've maybe heard before, and you know it's obscure, but it's maybe the sort of thing you could look up.
No, I can't find it.
I say, dear man, you're right up there.
Nothing worse than letting poor old Giordano down, I say, and I attempt a graceful leap back off, but my dexterity being what it is, I sort of stumble a bit, and it doesn't look good.
Well now.
I try and right myself in front of Jemima, who I think I'm probably trying to impress slightly.
Yeah.
Quite
be
right.
careful there, sir. As you should.
Keep that bit up, but the rest of it, God's sake, do better.
I mean, you nearly just burned her hair off, so I feel like it's not going well.
I think I look back to Miss Croft with a sort of look of, you know, having previously asked me if I think he's all right, sort of a look of, perhaps one too many of them. I mean, I can't talk. I'm fucked out of my nut on gin. But I think as long as he's down safely, I want to give the statue a little go around. You know, just look at the back of it, give it a little tap maybe, just see if there's anything else. I also do have, and it's worth reminding, I do have my Nagant revolver, which I took from its box before leaving, just because I don't like the idea of these creepy fellows hanging around the graveyard, whether they be paparazzi or anything, trying to and that's a new word I learned in Greece. But yes, I just want to give a sort of circumference of the statue and see if there's anything catches my eye.
Do you have archaeology?
Almost certainly not, darling. I do. I have one archaeology. Would it be an extreme success you were after?
No. Although I think it's only fair that Dr. Elvedon also gets an archaeology roll for his close encounter with the statue.
He's been up close and personal.
Shall I give you an archaeology roll? Oh yes, by 1. 41 on a 42.
It occurs to you this statue is not an antiquity. It has been built more recently than, Roman times.
Which makes me feel better about hastily jumping on it, but I'm still slightly regretful.
Hard to be sure exactly how old it is, but it's definitely in too good a condition to be from antiquity. Ambrose Coghill, as you're walking around the statue and looking about, you can give me a spot hidden roll if you like.
Could I try a spot hidden as well, Dom?
Yes, absolutely.
And I think I'm too bound in the head, I think, to be involved with any of that. At this moment.
I just rolled a 92 on my 25 spot hidden.
Oh dear.
So
so that's not good, is it?
It's the old
very
cataracts sort of kicking in. Plus the slight double vision, I think. Let's hope we don't have a shootout, because I'm not going to be much good, I don't think.
Yeah, 88. That's not good, is it?
Probs not.
I mean,
Unless you've got a massively high spot hidden.
My spot hidden is 60, is a regular success. So.
Very good, but not quite as good as that.
No.
whatever secrets this Roman general possesses, they remain occluded from you.
All right then, keep your secrets.
Oh, you've been not dropping no eaves, sir?
I somewhat testily, as you say that, I think, as Mrs. Croft says that, I somewhat testily flick the burning ember of my heavily dragged cigarette away, and then I light my pipe.
Quite right.
My grandfather's pipe, and I suck on it, and I think of his poetic turn of phrase and his inspiration from in his case, the late Romantics, and I ponder language slipping over my brain in the same way that the clouds are slipping over the sky high above.
The clouds are moving very quickly, actually.
Which is why we keep getting those weird bits of moonlight on the...
Dappled, shifting lights, yeah. Ooh.
As you ruminate, it occurs to you all that, this is the cemetery where...
Danann works.
Nice. Good.
That's a sanity roll for everyone.
But that's us
Meta
personally, right?
sanity
Joseph
roll.
has to roll his sanity. Or Mike.
Mark
This
has
is
to
the-
roll his sanity twice, I think.
Yeah, twice I think like that.
This is the cemetery where the Reverend told you that Tabitha Stevens went missing.
Yes.
And you think, gosh, if only statues could talk.
Yeah.
Who knows what this general saw that could
Yes.
point you in the right direction.
If only there was such a thing as closed-circuit television. Well, I don't know what came across me. Well,
Got a bit H.G. Wells, old man.
yes, I don't wish to speak for the party, but what do you say? We have a quick scan of the rest of the rows in this cemetery, and then perhaps we retire back to the village. I take out my pocket watch and check the time. Aware that we still have the potential of rooms at the house, the public house.
Yes, the Roman well in.
As long as it's not too late, that is, of course.
So let's say it's probably getting on for 10 o'clock.
It's push and shove as to whether it's acceptable. Another half an hour, probably. 11
Yes.
o'clock might be... Yeah, I would say probably too late.
I feel like 10 p.m.'s boarding time.
Yeah,
I feel like
I
that's
do.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Well, yes, although perhaps we should take this moment, if we are indeed not overheard, I say, scanning the horizon and the bushes and the yew trees, to have a minor council, Colonel. What do you think?
Yes, good idea.
You could all give me listen rolls if you like.
It's dashed cold.
I think that's a good idea. A little listen roll.
Hard success is probably what's required.
See, my ears are shot from the bombs and such, of course. You can barely hear anything unless it's a bomb these days.
I have rolled a 0-4,
Fantastic.
which is excellent on my 33.
I rolled 34, and that's... I think my score is 75
Oh, wow.
on listen.
That's a
So
good listen.
it's below a half success, right?
Yeah, hard success. That's good.
Okay.
So in that case, Dr. Elvedon, you're saying maybe we should have a council, and as you say that, you suddenly stop speaking, and from Jemima's body language, she's heard the same thing. You're not so sure about Coghill, but you've heard a very distinct, but relatively quiet snap, like of a twig, somewhere in the darkness that surrounds you.
There's a split second where I try to see Jemima's eyes in the quarter light, as if to sort of say, "You definitely heard that." And then I turn to Coghill and I say, "Actually, do I say anything? I think I just gesture like this and go." Which is to say that I wave my hand and I point my finger somewhat aggressively towards the shrubbery bushes that I just heard this snapped twig from.
Is there an army signal that you can give him?
Would there have been my battle language? First World War battle language.
Your Canley.
Of course, as is typical, I don't do that, and then I really regret it because that's exactly what the Colonel would have liked so much. But I can barely remember any of that because I wasn't really paying that much attention because I was in the cartography corps.
Maybe I give him an army I'll give him the army signal.
Yes.
But I don't know what that would be.
I look at Elvedon like, what the fuck? And I turn to Jemima.
You blow a bugle.
Actually, that is Coghill's signal, isn't it?
Play the entirety of the last post on corner.
If you are doing that brilliant undermining of my ineptitude, I think I'd like to, as stealthily as possible, move towards the sound.
So, the sound, with your extreme success, you've been able to sort of triangulate roughly where it is. It's come from the back side of the cemetery.
Not the general.
From the backside of Coghill.
Exactly. The communal sigh of relief that Coghill's backside wasn't mentioned.
I hear a snapping, crackling sound from the backside of Coghill. While that happens, I think I see the sort of the look from Elvedon. I sort of, what? And I turn to Jemima. I see she's similarly occupied. Sort of gives her earlobe a tug, perhaps, and points in the same direction.
I'm also clutching my handbag very tightly.
Yes.
And looking as though I might open it at any moment.
Which I think is the sort of psychology that I probably do recognise.
Do we see your gloved hand going into the handbag?
Tentatively, but not yet.
Just undoing the clasp.
I think in that case it's fair to say I inwardly curse my broken eardrums and my blurry sight, and I try as stealthily as possible to sort of sneak over to the nearest grave and pull out my Nagant and just hold it by my hip and sort of look in the direction they were both pointing.
And in that moment he goes from the broken colonel to the elegant tiger of a man that he really is.
Leaps
no
on
sound. No sound comes from him. Yes. Low to the ground, the thighs of a 25-year-old at work.
But of course he doesn't raise his gun.
Yeah, exactly.
No. Steeled. He doesn't raise the gun because he's of that, you never raise your gun until you're ready to kill a man.
Should we have a stealth off, Danann?
Yes. I think that's probably
Are you holding the ground, Jemima, or are you coming with us?
I'm following you.
Are we all stealthing?
So I guess we're all stealthing it.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
At this stage, I'm going to tell you that my stealth is 25, so I'm going to go very slowly, and if I do make a noise, I'm sorry.
My stealth is 20, and I rolled an 18, so I just succeed.
Mine is 45, and I rolled a 12. That's good, isn't it?
So I make a noise, and I immediately stop, and the two of you continue. So I will now hold the ground.
And I just sort of sneak past you like...
What's he doing?
Yeah, you dick.
How drunk are you? Come on.
I didn't drink that much.
Can't leave the woman on her own to deal with the...
That was Coghill. You two were down in the pub.
Coghill's fucked out of his head.
Yeah. We were the ones on the fucking
he can't feel his arthritis and his sort of fucked
I did have a couple.
So because of the booze, he's a lot more slicker than he actually would be normally.
Perfect, right?
Yeah.
You'll pay for it in the morning.
So to clarify, you came over from the west end, the southwest corner that came in by the rail station, and then went round the sort of corner there and along there's houses, and then there's the market square at the end of the road with the Roman well in, shops around the outside. The church is obviously next to it. That's that big cross. There's a path up to the vicarage up there.
Yes.
The cemetery is opposite the market square with going into the woods there. There's another road and the river and everything. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So this sound came from the south side of the wood.
Ooh.
You entered from the north side of the wood, but this sound came from the southerly direction.
Oh boy. So it's leading us deeper into the wood, basically.
Essentially, it's come from deeper in the wood.
Well, I've stopped because I feel like I stepped upon something that cracked in return, and I can see the other two pulling away, receding into the darkness. Stealthy, sylvan.
I'm not going to go too far away from the good Dr. Elvedon.
No, absolutely. My initial instinct was just to find the nearest gravestone and sort of stealth that as some sort of cover. It wouldn't be like cover completely, but just to have something between us and the sound.
Yeah.
And I'm contemplating getting out my handgun, Dom, but I haven't done it.
Okay. Well, so you creep further into the woods, except for Elvedon, who freezes. Do you have lights with you?
We have the torches, right, from the cellar.
Lanterns or torches?
Wasn't it Elvedon who had the torch?
Ah, yes. It probably wasn't all of us, was it?
I think it was you who had it.
Okay. I'm just interested in who's got a light source on them now and what you're doing with them, because they do give you away, obviously.
I think it's fair to say, even if I did have a torch, I would have left it on the ground by the Roman general if I thought there was a sense of, because I'm not trying to attract attention to myself here. So
yeah, and I'm holding my handbag like this, and I'm gonna open it if I need to open it. Basically,
I guess it's a question, keeper of the Lake District Tourist Board. Do you think maybe it's a luck roll to see whether I was inept, or a power roll perhaps to see if I was psychologically slightly incompetent, as to whether I span round to look?
I mean, should we bother being stealthy anymore? Should we just fucking go and get whoever this clown is?
Well,
and
true.
Bomb rush him, the three of us.
Well, we're about to find out now. I think instinctively, I mean, Elvedon's a clued up guy. He's very educated and intelligent. So, Dom, whatever you can give me, because I didn't declare, and you're right, that could mean I just shone the torch out in the direction. But do you think I have the...
No, I think that's fine. Even if you did, you don't see anything there. The trees are a bit thicker towards the south, and you don't see anything.
Put it this way, I think what I'm doing now is, as they are progressing forwards and have the agency definitely in terms of physical proximity to whatever, if anything it is, the rabbit that we are being startled by, I turn back to the statue and say, yes, so if you'll permit me, I'll hold forth on my theory. Fabernius Marco Legatus holds secrets that we must dig up, and I begin to spiel in what can only be described, unfortunately, as a fast talk, which I don't have any skill in. But I'm desperately trying to sort of create this patter.
What, as if you're like on a ghost walk or something?
As if I'm talking to them both, still at the statue, to create the impression.
Oh, okay.
Could that not be a long distance persuade?
I think it is a fast talk. I mean, what are you trying to convince whoever's listening of, that you're just people, tourists?
No, that we're having a conversation. But I suppose I am trying to avoid saying things like, where does Joseph Oomska and Claire Reeve and Edward Reeve fit into this picture, and indeed the symbol that we've discovered? So I think he's trying to spin a Fabernius Marco Legatus. Oh, but I mean, he looks like he could be 2nd century AD, which would put him in the Agrippa. Well, is it Agrippa, Colonel? Oh, well, of course I know that it's not Agrippa. Is it? All this sort of
fine
time.
So it sounds like, yeah, but also trying to. I mean, it makes it sound like you're just, local history nuts.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Give me a fast talk.
Yes.
We'll see how convincing you are.
Can I also, as he's doing that, do a spot hidden to see if I can see where this person is?
Yes, you and the Colonel can give me spot hidden rolls.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
That would be good.
And now I will need hard successes.
That's... Oh, no, that's a success.
And same, 30 on
21
60.
on a 25. Oh, 30 on
both
60.
hard successes.
No, mine's just a normal, but I think Tilly's is...
Is 30 on 60, is that a hard success?
Hard. Spot on.
Yeah.
So Coghill, you can't make out anything in this darkness. The darkness is so dense.
Yes.
It's impenetrable.
Yes.
But Jemima, your eyes starting to adjust to the trees, and the moon just happens to be in a certain way, the clouds move in a certain way, that you see between the trees. It's like you only see it because it moves. If it hadn't moved, you wouldn't have seen it. But a figure, you can't make out who, a human figure.
How big is it?
He said human. He said human. Bonus.
Yeah, he said...
But how big is it? Yeah.
You don't make any features out of there, literally a silhouette.
Yeah.
Suddenly moves away.
How tall?
Probably like, I don't know, 5'10", something like that.
Tall, enormously tall.
Which direction does he go in?
He's heading further into the woods south.
Okay, I've got to make a decision here, haven't I? What are we going to do? Are we going to follow this guy, or are we going to...
Of course, legatus is from the Latin, or I fear that logaria is possibly the... Oh, dear. I mean, what I mean to say is...
Miss Croft, what did you see?
What have I done here? Just don't mention the symbol. Don't mention the symbol.
I'm just going to creep back to the guys, because I feel like me running off in the woods with just a handgun...
Probably a bad
it's
shot.
probably not the actions of a sane woman, which I currently still am. So, there in the woods, I saw a man around 5'10", I think. At least I think it was a man. I couldn't make out any sort of features or anything. He was in the trees watching us.
Viburnum,
He was watching
of course.
us.
Isn't that a plant? Yes. Good.
Doctor.
Oh, sorry.
There's a man there.
I was feigning my fast talk roll. Quite successfully.
Oh, I see.
It doesn't matter now. Whoever it was has gone further into the woods.
Sorry, I tried. It was a ruse, but I stepped on that twig. So sorry.
No, don't worry. There's twigs everywhere. It's the woods.
You two
That's
were
where
like
they live.
panthers.
It might just be some troublemaker. I turn around and I shout into the woods. I say, you there, poacher, pervert, or Protestant? What?
For a minute, I really thought you were going to say, I turn around and I shoot wildly into the bushes. It's like, woo! Different show. But nonetheless, I'm with Jemima on that one. I go, shouting, right? Okay, that's a strong choice. Yeah, love it.
As you shout into the woods, you hear a noise from much closer to you on the north side of the woods. Suddenly out staggers this figure.
Shit. Sorry.
And you recognize it. It's the Polish guy from the pub.
The guy drawing rectangles.
No, the workman who was having a drink in the saloon bar.
We never got his name, did we? I don't think.
He didn't like us either, though, right?
We had a brief interaction, but then he stumbled off out the door,
Yeah,
and we saw him later working on the well. Yes.
Well, he staggers out of nowhere, and he's got his hands up, and he says, "It's okay. It's okay."
Yeah.
Oh, I jump. Oh,
sorry.
Right.
Oh gosh, where did you come from? That wasn't him, chaps. There was someone else in the other direction.
I slip my Nagant back into its holster, hiding it from him. I don't want him to see I had my gun out. And I say, well, don't worry, dear chap. What are you doing skulking about this time of night?
Yes.
Same as us, maybe?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I had drink.
Yes. We've all had a drink or two.
I raise an eyebrow.
Just going for a walk.
Oh.
I did not mean to disturb you.
No.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry. Take care if you go into the woods. There's someone prowling about.
I glance at Miss Croft in a meaningful manner, and my eyebrow that is raises even higher, as I'm sure that her perspicacity and psychological insight might be exactly what I need here. But I'm intrigued to know whether I believe him.
Oh goodness,
Dominic, do I believe him when he says this?
I had forgotten that I was a renowned psychologist until the doctor reminded me so thoughtfully. So I will take a psychology roll.
I think so. I think. Yeah, you can both give me a psychology roll. In fact, all three of you.
I'm doing one as well, but it's very low, so it's 80 on a 10. Yeah.
In truth, I've failed 83 because I'm so discombobulated by all of this. It's exactly as I thought. There's a lot more here than I first hoped there might be. We're in trouble now. There's people wandering around in the woods. It's too much for coincidence.
Yes.
I haven't failed, but it's not a hard success. I got 68 and my skill is 75.
Well played.
Psychology.
That's fine. You're confident that this he is literally just wandering past. He's clearly wandering through the cemetery. He's had a bit to drink. And in fact, if you had to guess, the reason he sort of appeared in such an abrupt and sort of almost sort of furtive manner is that he was probably taking a slash behind one of the trees.
Right, yeah.
And then I shouted in quite an aggressive manner.
Probably just relieving himself, gentlemen, as I believe you often do in the woods.
Oh,
where are you off to, good sir? Are you walking home, or?
I go just walk in the woods and then back to the inn.
Oh, yes.
Oh, well, perhaps we could walk with you. We're headed there ourselves.
Yes. Good idea, Miss Croft.
He nods.
Yes.
Just one moment, Mrs. Croft. Could you point me to the exact spot where you thought you saw the other individual? I sort of go over to Mrs. Croft to close it down as if it's more of a sort of intimate conversation, but I don't want to hide it from the Colonel. It's more that I'm sort of suggesting I'd like to look at where they were standing.
So I point. Is it north, Dom, into the woods?
The southern spot, I think it is, isn't it?
Southern, yeah, and I say, in between those trees there, where the moon shines through, I saw whoever it was turn and run.
I shan't be a moment. I'd just like to see if there's anything on the ground.
Oh, do be careful.
What if you wait here? And then I run over to the spot, and I'd like to use my tracking. It's not great, but I did put points in it because he was in cartography, and he's a walker. He's a walker and a
walker, a day walker.
So tell me exactly what you're doing here. You're going over there with your torch.
Yes, I'm going to look at the spot that Jemima last saw this figure. See if I can find any tracks, or indeed anything like a cigarette butt, or.
And I think while that interaction was happening between Elvedon and Croft, I've sort of lumped my way over to the Polish fellow and said, "Now look here, sir, sorry for frightening you there." And I pull out my hip flask and I say, "Nightcap."
Oh,
so I'm just over there with the Polish fellow, sharing a little drink while that interaction happened.
Yeah, he beams heavily, and he's very, very grateful for a little nightcap.
Yes, good stuff.
As for Dr. Elvedon, yeah, I'll take either a hard track or a hard spot hidden, whatever you'd rather do.
My spot hidden has a slightly higher chance.
Well, I'll tell you what, you'll get slightly different information, potentially, depending on your level of success.
Would you like to choose which one? I feel like tracking was my instinct, and it's not a great skill. I'll tell you what I roll, and if it's also under spot hidden, maybe you'll feel generous. Who knows? But
this would be in fact a combined skill roll, so that's perfectly reasonable.
Would it be permissible? Yes, I'm going to spend some luck. You want it to be a hard, though, don't you?
Yes.
No, I can pass it with some luck spent, but I can't. It's a 36 on a 35. So if a standard pass is no intel, which you've said it isn't because it's a hard. I stagger around and I look and I get down on one knee.
Oh, I say, never send a man to do a woman's job. And I saunter over.
Oh, nice.
I say, let me look. Men can never find anything. My husband would lose his head if it wasn't fixed on.
Horribly offended by this statement, I say, don't stand there. What's that? Even though I know full well there's nothing there, and I go puce with embarrassment. And I stand up and say, maybe you'd like the torch. And I hand it over to her as if I'm both disgusted with myself and the world. And I relight my pipe aggressively.
And while that's happening, all you hear in the background is me saying, "Krakow, is it? Oh yes, the salt mines." And then drifts back to you.
I was trying to do some gender-based humour, and I may have pushed Dr. Elvedon over the edge.
That's it. It's the beginning of a psychological crisis. No, it was good gender-based humour, and I felt that you were absolutely right. I have not done a very good job there.
Well, watch me fuck up my role now.
Come on.
That'll be it.
Sisterhood. Come on.
Feminism.
It all hinges on this roll.
34.
That was good.
And my spot hidden is
really
60.
Good. So that's spend the luck. Spend the luck. 4 points.
Should I spend the luck?
Yeah, if you spend four points of luck.
I'll spend 4 points of luck.
What's your tracking skill?
My tracking is not good. It's 10.
The base.
Fine.
The
Okay.
base.
Well, if you spend 4 points of luck, you'll
Okay.
might see something.
I will spend it after I made such a fuss.
I was going to have to spend 15 points of luck to even pass.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
So, no. Put 1 on spot.
You cast your torch around a bit, and you see something caught on a low branch. It's just a little rag, but as you get closer, you see that it's actually there's a waxy canvas quality to it, like it's torn off a coat.
Oh.
Dr. Elvedon, look here.
Oh.
There's some sort of fabric caught on this tree.
Oh, yes. Waxy. I don't know, could that be nautical, maybe? I'm not sure. Or certainly, when it's waxed like that, it's to protect it from the elements, isn't it?
Oh, I suppose it could be from a coat. Could you untie it? I'm not particularly good with knots. I'm trying to bolster his self-esteem again after I ruthlessly tore it down 5 minutes ago.
Ruthlessly emasculated him in the forest.
I over hastily agree and take a glove off and start, because it's cold, right? I start to untie this rag.
It's got colder now that the rain has cleared and the cloud cover has lifted. It's got a real bite in the air.
High scudding clouds.
The wind's picking up.
Yeah, so, and there's no kind of blood stains on it or other stains on it.
Hard to tell in this light, but it doesn't look like it.
Good. Well,
And it's only a scrap. It's a bit of a scrap.
Is it fair to say that by this point, maybe I noticed that they've gone?
oh,
And the
I
direction
assumed
they
that we
went
weren't. Yeah, we were sort of declaring.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I was distracted slightly
and
having
we're
a
not
convo
far.
with... No. So I sort of say, so what was your name again, sir?
Peter.
Peter.
Peter Lovitz.
Peter Lovitz. Fantastic name. Listen, my friends are obviously distracted by someone. Come along with me. Here's another nip. Let's go and see what they're at.
He happily potters along next to you. He doesn't talk much.
No.
But he smiles whenever you look at him.
I hand him the hip flask again, and I make sure he's following along, but I move over towards them, and if it's fair to say I reach them by this point, or I sort of say, oh, what are you looking at, chaps? Found something, have you?
Yes, Mrs. Croft, eagle-eyed, spotted this. Not sure. Do you make anything of it?
Caught on the branch there, was it?
Looks that way.
Yes, looks like it's from some sort of jacket.
Could I do see, my track is quite good. So is it worth maybe saying that this instills in me a sort of, a hunt, yes. Someone's been here. Here's a little scrap. And I maybe have a scan. I maybe, if it was Dr. Elvedon who had the light, maybe say, may I?
Actually, Jemima has the light. I have the scrap of...
Miss Croft, may I?
Absolutely.
And I take the light and I roll my track just to see if I can see anything else in the vicinity that might be a... Oh, and that is exactly a 50, which is exactly my track.
Yeah, again, I kind of need a hard success, unfortunately. Always push the
I'm going to push it.
50, not
And
worth
I'm going
it.
to push it by saying, do you know what? I need a bit of clarity. Sorry, and I hand the torch back to Jemima, and instead I pull out my box of matches, light a match, and I light my pipe. So I get that hit of the nicotine and use the glow from the match to get a bit closer to where the scrap was and down to the ground. And as the sort of wreaths of smoke pass my moustache and up into the air, I see if the glow illuminates anything in more detail on the floor. I'm going to roll again.
I noticed Dr. Elvedon drooling.
Well, actually, it's well a spot hidden.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, do. In the meantime, I've rolled an 8, which...
Oh, well done.
On my 50 is an extreme success, not just a hard.
Fantastic. Well, you are examining the ground, puffing on your pipe, and then suddenly everyone else sees the colonel. They stand upright. You've seen something. In the damp earth, in the mud, there are some footprints, and they head away to the south, deeper into the woods.
Now, we don't have any idea what what is south of here? Do we know the size of these woods? We didn't come this way in the car on the way in.
No, you came around the other side, so there's patches of woodland, but it's hard to be sure.
Yes. Oh yes. I say, listen here. There's tracks leading away in the mud. They're heading south, though. I don't know how big these woods are. I turn to Peter and say, "Oh, listen here, Peter. You know this area quite well, do you?"
Yeah, little. I've been here a while now.
Yes. This way. What's this way?
Absent-mindedly, I put the large box of matches back into my pocket, and I take the petrol-soaked rag, and I smell it, and then I see Jemima clocking that, and I just put it in my pocket in an embarrassed way, and I say, terribly good spot. Sorry I didn't see it myself. Well done, both of you.
Yes, thank goodness you're here, Colonel.
Yes.
Now, what would you say to that, Peter? Do you know what's in that direction, into the woods?
He thinks and he says, the farms.
I see. So we're looking for someone who works at the farms. Interesting.
Farm,
Do you know anyone, strange who works at the farms? Anyone who doesn't get on with the other townsfolk, perhaps?
He sort of makes a face like, everyone is very, they have their own business, you know?
Yes.
Absolutely,
but,
yes.
This way, and he points south, is Doctor's farm.
Oh, yes.
The doctor we saw in the town.
Yes.
Do you think it was him?
Which the woman was shouting at him, right? The last time we saw him. And she was saying, "Why did you take his blood?" I think that was the specificity of it. She was saying, "Why did you take all his blood," or something? And he was sort of saying, "Well, we had to try something." He seemed very earnest, but I think, yes, sorry.
To clarify, it was, he was, the landlady was remonstrating with him about her mother.
Who was ill, right?
Who was ill.
You killed my mother. You drained her blood. You killed
my mother. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I say, well, time's getting on, but we've more than one place to stay if we need to. I've holed up in a car in the past. I'm not past that entirely. At the end of the day, there's a man's reputation on the line, and more than that, there's a girl's life at stake. Now, if there's someone creeping about in the woods and heading off towards these farms, I say we make the best of this opportunity, and while the prints are fresh, we follow them and see what we can't see if we can't get some information out of someone. What do you think?
I couldn't agree more, but I'm concerned about that earlier point you put together, Colonel, about making a good show of things at the Roman Inn well. And,
yes.
The not Roman appearing Inn well? To be suspicious.
Oh, sorry, the Roman Well Inn. The Roman Inn Well?
That was a beautiful bit of...
it's sort of near spoonerism, isn't it? So, was it?
We have to make a good impression at the Roman Inn well.
Roman Inn well.
A well impression at the Roman Inn good.
I've had a couple of days off the booze because of the COVID, and now I've had a couple of drinks, literally 2, and it's all just flooding out now. The anxiety is literally flowing out of me.
I think I say, well, you're quite right, of course. We should
I could dash
secure
back.
our rooms.
I could dash back and say, do you mind if we take those rooms after all? And put a little deposit down, and then I'll run right back here. What? It's only over the way. Look, I can almost see it from here. Almost.
Well, either that or, Miss Croft, was this the direction the figure you saw was running in? The way the footsteps go?
I don't know if it's wise for any of us to undertake this alone.
No, quite. And I pull out my pocket knife and I just mark the trees with a very stout, thick arrows, just pointing in that direction. I say, well, there we are. Even if the footprints disappear, we'll have a way of working out the direction they were going in. Perhaps we all go back, get a good night's rest, and start up again in the morning.
Yes, early doors.
That is the wisest thing. Although
I feel my passion took me slightly, and although I'm still concerned for our friend's reputation, but more so this young girl's safety, if that's still a concern, we have to hope it will be.
Of course, Colonel, but our own reputations as well.
Well, quite right, Miss Croft, quite right. But yes. I'm in no fit state. I must be honest, I'm in no fit state. Perhaps we should all head back to the inn and start again early tomorrow.
To the Roman well it is.
Yes, and then the
well,
inn. Oh no,
here we go.
Where? The Roman well.
So, you trudge your way back towards the pub.
Come on, Peter, have another nip of this.
Thank you, he says. So before long, you are back at the Roman Well Inn, and it's quiet there.
Is the door locked?
No, it's still open. There's still she's still serving.
Oh, excellent.
Lively town.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, a brandy, I think. Mrs. Croft, will you join me?
I will. A small one.
Of course, yes. 2 double brandies, and no, that was being naughty. No, 2 brandies, and Colonel, what will you have?
Oh, two large gins and a couple of pairs of pints.
Just something light for the evening.
Just the scotch. Just the scotch. I'll be fine.
The usual demi-quart.
Surrounded by an arsonist and an alcoholic.
Yes.
She puts the bottle of scotch down on the bar.
Quite right. Just one.
Piotr, will you be joining us? One for the road?
Yes. All right.
Brandy or scotch?
Good man.
Well, we've got the bottle. You can choose, unless you'd like to order a brandy.
Brandy is good.
3 brandies, my good lady. And we will take you up on the offer of those rooms, etc., etc.
She says, all right. Well, they're not the best rooms, but they'll have to do.
Well, can't be worse than what I'm used to. Excellent.
They're up in the eaves.
Oh, yes. Some house martins up there sharing with us, I imagine. Lovely.
A nice view, I should imagine, Mrs. Croft.
I suppose. If you can see out through the rain.
Do you have a bedpan? A warmer, I mean, sorry.
I've got one, yeah.
Oh. Well, good. At least one of us will sleep with the warmth of a hot coal.
A bed warmer. There's one in each room.
Ah, very good. Should we help ourselves to the coals here, or?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, you see, you thought it was unnecessary detail, but no.
Burn it all. Well, I pour myself a scotch and then neck it and then say, well, I'll do that straight away. And which is my room?
Whichever you want.
Well,
she hands you she puts 3 keys on the bar.
I grab one without looking.
Through the dining room, up the stairs at the back.
Excellent, thank you. And I grab one without looking and say, see you in a moment, and then make my way up the stairs.
Okay. What did Dr. Elvedon and Jemima Croft do?
I think we're just enjoying a brandy with our new pal.
Yeah, I think I lean over to Mrs. Croft and I say, perhaps we should take it in turns. Why don't you go up and sort out your own room, and I'll stay here, and then you can relieve me.
All right. So I take a little of the brandy, and I take my key and head up.
I'll take that table by the fire. I'll take your glass over, and then I'll
All right.
go over
See you shortly.
with Peter.
Theta.
Feta.
So the Colonel gets upstairs first, just. And what you find is it's a wooden staircase, and a true stair in the true sense of the term. It's a wooden door at the back of the dining room that opens into a staircase. My friend had one of these at university in this old house. It was like
not much more than a ladder,
like a little wooden door onto the stairs. It's like the stairs were in like a box. So weird,
really weird.
Yeah, and so you go up the staircase and you find yourself and you have to open another door at the top, of course. And it's a very narrow, very low-ceilinged hallway with a few small doors either side.
How small?
Clearly, these are the rooms.
How small? Are we talking Icelandic elf doors, or are they human doors?
They're kind of like 3/4 height to a normal door because you're like in the roof of the building. It's kind of like it's all a bit squashed up here, sloping roof,
But there's light.
There's gas lamp kind of thing. And there's a little window at the end. Obviously, it's dark outside, but little window with net curtain. And lying there in the middle of the hallway is the cat.
Of course, I forgot about the cat.
Fuck's
How
sake.
could we forget about the cat? It's because of all that damn distraction he's been doing up in the cemetery, isn't it?
Christ.
And as you step into the hallway, it sort of it's lying sort of on its side on the hallway floor. It raises its head and looks at you with these kind of like sort of drowsy but kind of, I don't know, somehow red eyes. It's like bloodshot eyes the cat has. And it gives you this feeble and desperate it looks like it's in pain.
Are we both there? Is it...
Probably by now you've arrived, yes.
Miss Croft.
There we are. It's that dreadful cat again. It looks like it's in pain.
It does, yes. There's something wrong with it. I said from the start, it has something growing on it. Yes. I feel bad for the poor critter.
It needs putting out of its misery, but...
Well, quite. But I don't think the landlady would appreciate me stomping a cat to death in the upper corridors.
No. Interesting that was your first choice. But,
well, I'm not a vet. All I can think of is the Hound of Mons and those poor rabid dogs we had to put down in those French villages. Well, sometimes we didn't have the morphine. Of course, we never had the morphine. Barely for the humans, let alone the animals. And, well, one just had to think of the swiftest way to end the being's suffering. But I'm getting.
Don't worry, Colonel. Where's your drink?
Well, I sort of jangle my key and try and look at the number in the gaslight to see if I can see.
Number 3.
Is that between me and the cat, or is it past the cat?
The cat is near the door of number 3.
Oh, fuck's sake.
You'd have to step over it to get to the door.
Well, Miss Croft, which room are you in?
Which one have I got, Dom?
2.
2. Okay.
Is that past the cat, or...?
No, that's right here on the left.
I say, Miss Croft,
Yes.
would you mind swapping?
Well, as a lady, I would prefer to be in between the gentlemen's rooms. I'm sure you understand, just in case anything untoward happens,
Oh, of course. He sort of, yes. Well, I'll just, and I think he's trying to stir himself up with the blusters. Well, I'll just go and, well, yes.
Do you want me to come with you, Colonel?
No. All good. Maybe if you could just stay there on the landing for a moment, make sure my key works.
The cat suddenly makes a kind of a sort of a half stretch and another noise, and you realise it's on the cusp of giving birth.
Good lord.
So you're Polish, you say?
Yes, Krakow.
Krakow. Oh yes, the tin mines. Yes, and you're working on the well.
Yes, that's right.
Do you have much archaeological experience? Do you work with historical brickwork? What I mean is, do you work with old stone? Am I speaking too quickly?
Yes, old stone, yes.
Well, of course, in Krakow, I'm sure there's a lot.
Yes, but I also am learning stonemasonry in York,
on the Minster.
Oh, how marvellous. Oh, I know the Minster a little.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, very beautiful cathedral.
What a stunning history.
Yes.
Do not kill this gentleman.
He's too good for us.
Burning.
I know.
Remember, just burning isn't killing. That's what I'm saying. That doesn't count.
We have to protect him at all costs.
Does Dr. Elvedon believe that burning releases the soul?
I'm pretty sure you've just made that 100% clear in Dr. Elvedon's mind now, even though you aren't even here. I think there's quite a lot is happening tonight.
You're having a conversation with me in your head, though.
In his mind, Mrs. Croft now features very highly. Nothing better for an Oxford professor than to have a completely unattainable obsession with a married woman. No, I'm just sorry. I was distracted there. I was thinking that what would Mrs. Croft say at this point? She's so perspicacious and capable of good observation of humans. I mean, that is to say, anyway. Here, have some more brandy. We'll have another one here for the workman. Peter.
You could give me a charm roll if you like.
Oh yeah, I've done that really well. 09 on 25.
Great. Very nice. You're lubricating the conversation both with alcohol and with witty repartee, and Peter he relaxes visibly in your presence. You get the sense that maybe he doesn't really have that many people to talk to in this village, being an outsider, as he is, and he suddenly chuckles to himself and he says, I cannot wait to finish working on that well. They want me to build a memorial.
Yes.
Yes. The vicar is not happy. He came and shouted, but I have not seen him since. But the well is strange. I don't like it.
Build a memorial on it. That's what they want. That does seem a little odd, doesn't it?
English brandy is strange.
Well, it's probably French, or at least I hope it is.
Yes, they want to build it in place of the well.
How interesting.
Very strange.
They didn't tell you why, I suppose.
No, it is in the center of the village.
Yes, I suppose a central point. Remembering the dead. That's always a good thing to do. I was out there. Were you involved in any way
in the war? Not that directly, but I came here because of what happened.
Well, heaven forbid that anything like that should ever happen again. I'm sure it never will. And certainly Poland, I'm sure, will be out of it by then.
Christ.
I hope so. But I like England. I think better to stay here.
Well,
but not here.
No, this is a little bit out of the way, perhaps. How curious that they should ask. And is there anyone else they're getting to work with you, or is it just you, old man?
Just me.
Old chap. Yes. The other two have been a little time. Well, let's make a toast, shall we? To memorials, but in the right place, and to the future.
Oh, but I am not sure about placing memorial, but I am all for closing the well. There is something. That well makes me, what do you say? Gives me the shivers.
Gives you the shivers.
And he clinks your glass, drinks his brandy.
Prost. Or Nostrovia, or whatever it is.
Go on.
And I look a little unsettled and stare into the fire.
Meanwhile, upstairs,
I think... Yeah.
Well, goodness, it looks as if the cat's ready to pop. What do you say? How about we carry it downstairs?
Yes. My fear of what I felt on it earlier, I think, is at odds with the fact that I'm an animal lover, and especially cat. And it sounds pained, and I recognise the pain. It sounds like something caught on barbed wire. It sounds like I have the instinct to help, however horrible it seems. And I say, I steel myself and I say, yes, downstairs if we can bring it. I'll grab some towels from there. And I rush towards my room, not touching the cat, but sort of squeezing along the landing past it and sort of trying to open my room to see if I can grab some towels.
You get into your room. Obviously the lights are off, but the moonlight is coming in through the small window that overlooks the square.
Yes.
And there are towels laid out ready.
Yes.
It's a very nicely appointed but relatively bare room.
Yes.
And there's a wash basin, a wardrobe. The cat begins scratching slightly frantically at the floorboards as it braces itself.
I grab the towels and I bring them back into the corridor and shut the door behind me, and I say, Miss Croft, what's best? Perhaps here, I suppose. We maybe don't have time. We don't want to stress the poor creature by carrying it down the stairs.
I suppose not.
I lay a couple of towels down on the floor and say, what do you think? I probably look quite panicked. Well, perhaps not. All I'll say is it didn't feel like a natural pregnancy. And I think as I say that, I sort of shudder in myself and I say, just prepare yourself for it may be grisly. And yes. Could you assist me, Miss Croft?
Of course.
Let's
what
at least
do you
get
need?
a towel under the poor creature. And
all right.
I've sort of laid them out, but I'm quite clearly loath to touch the creature itself in quite a cowardly fashion. But
I guess I'll try and scoop a towel under the cat.
As you push the towel under the cat, you feel a movement on your hand. Something hard is like inside the cat, and it moves very kind of smoothly.
No.
But quick.
Recoil and back up against the wall, and I shriek.
And then
a womanly shriek.
And then
Miss Croft.
At which point the cat lets out this kind of cry, and it begins to give birth. Something emerges, placenta-like, and slides out onto the towel. But the first thing you see is what looks like a very small, very pale leg. But it doesn't end in a paw, because it looks more like an arm.
No.
More like a hand.